Obviously, the truth always is told on Monday, and the first truth is congratulated our team on being 1-0. Don't ever need to get to a point you don't celebrate the times that the scoreboard works out for the way you prepared. So we celebrate that. It was, I thought, a good home crowd. Good to see our people back, and really made coaching feel somewhat normal again and playing somewhat normal again. So thankful for all our great fans that came out and watched us, and hope that the crowds will be able to even get bigger and better in the future home games. So thankful there. The truth of the game, we played pretty sloppy. That's really the truth of it. We played high on the offensive line, and didn't play with our pads down very well until the second half, and we challenged them a little bit and thought they responded. Penalties were, you can't win against an evenly matched team with as many penalties as we had. I've got to get that cleaned up. We did take care of the football offensively, and we didn't have any sacks. But on the defensive side, we didn't have any takeaways, and we didn't have any sacks. So, we averaged 5 yards a carry, and we held them to 3 yards a carry. So those are important stats to me. And we were 7 of 11 for touchdowns in our 11 drives offensively, which is a pretty high percentage. Third down and short, our defense was incredible. Gave up 2 third and longs, which was disappointing. We've got to get off the field on those. Offensively, we weren't great on third down stats, but really, if you look at it, there was a few that we probably would have handled different in a closer game. So I'm not too concerned on that. But all in all, I thought it was a sloppy game, and there was a lot of kids that had some outstanding effort. But we've got to get it cleaned up, and I met with both sides this morning and watched the correction film with both sides, and it's good that you can challenge them when you still won, having not played very well, really, in my opinion. So good to be 1-0, and we'll put that in the trash now and start turning our attention toward a very difficult task of going to Troy and trying to find a way to win that game.
Thank you, Coach. Before we get to some questions from the media, I want to follow up on a couple of injuries from Saturday night. I know you said Damian Downs had a high ankle sprain. Was there another one there on the offensive line, or can you just give us an update on what you know?
Yeah, we unfortunately got beat up a little bit in this game, so it'd have to be next man up mentality. Everybody right now, I think they're seeing some doctors today, but everything right now is day to day with Bounds and Javion Lofton, Marcus Haskins, Bryce Matthews. So a lot of day to days right now that don't have any clarity on.
And Tristan Schultz is okay too. I know that Graham got a lot of playing time out there.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with Tristan.
Okay. Thank you. Let's go to Damian Sordelet from the Lynchburg News and Advance.
Hugh, Saturday is going to mark the 20th anniversary of 9/11. Do you remember what you were doing that day 20 years ago, and the significance of playing a football game on that date with so many emotions running throughout the country?
Damien, I'm a football coach, so I'm not. Your last statement there, I hope that there's still enough of the core of Americans that understand what really happened that day, and I hope so. I hope we never forget that. I remember vividly where I was. I was a high school football coach at Briarcrest Christian School. I was also the dean of students, and my mornings usually were filled with being in the dean of students' office for student discipline and stuff. And I remember a setting in the head of our school at that time was a guy by the name of Steve Simpson, and he came and got me, and I went in his office and just sat in just silence with him in an unbelievable, just just couldn't believe what was happening as we watched it unfold right there on TV. Just the kind of the shock that, man, our nation is under attack, and right here on our own soil, and that was certainly sad. And so many families had tragedy hit them that day, and obviously America responded and defended her honor, and so I hope that's all remembered that day. So there was tragedy, but obviously America's resilient, and I think there's a story probably to be told on both sides of that. But playing football on that day, thank you for reminding me, because I get such in a nutshell. I probably never would have even thought of it or even known what the date was. I just know we play this Saturday, and so that definitely is something I can put on my. We had a great talk this morning on our themes, and that's something I can add to my Thursday list for sure.
Let's go next to John Manson from A Sea of Red.
Well, Damien always asks these deeply emotional questions, and I follow up with a mundane football question, so I apologize for that. This Saturday, you go on the road. First time this season is the first time going up or possibly against a decent-sized crowd, 20,000 plus, what they had this past weekend. And your team hasn't faced that. Obviously, last year, COVID had limited crowd size, and Malik hasn't faced that as a starting quarterback in college. What's your message to the team just to get them mentally prepared for the crowd?
We won't make much of it other than making sure we have a communication system that's effective. I've never tried to give too much credence or credit to a crowd affecting the way we think or perform outside the communication. You've got to be able to communicate effectively in those, but hopefully we'll thrive on competing even in a hostile environment if it is that, and so I won't make much of it. Just making sure we practice our communication with some noise.
Next, let's go to Ed Lane, Virginia Talk Radio Network.
Hugh, when you look back on this past game, and you mentioned sloppiness, you mentioned the second half being a lot better, especially for pad level on the offensive side. Did you notice defensively as well, as the game unfolded, they settled into a rhythm? What did you notice on that side of the ball?
Well, I thought our defense played well most of the game. They gave up 2 third and longs and one explosive run. The quarterback scrambled around and completed some balls. A little disappointed in the pressure. I was pleased with our our run defense, and thought we cut a few guys loose, but some in the pass game. But man, we had harped all week on trying to just make sure we contained this quarterback because of what we had seen on film with him being so athletic and running around and making plays. And I think it made us a little tentative at both the linebacker spot and the D-line when it was pass. And it kind of caused our linebackers didn't get correct drops a few times, kind of spying him and wondering where he was going to run next, and that they hit us on some end cuts with that, and certainly think it made us a little tentative. But I thought we played pretty solid defensively. I loved the run average, and we just gave up a few explosive plays and 2 third and longs, which really were the only negatives. I thought they played better as a unit for the totality of the game, more so than the offense. Offense first half, we just didn't play very well up front.
Coach, going against Troy team that has a Missouri transfer at quarterback, they put a bunch of points on the board here this past week. What stands out to you about them?
Yeah, the first thing is the quarterback transfer makes a big difference. You watch the scheme from last year. It wasn't as effective as it looked this past week with him. He's an incredibly accurate passer. I remember him vividly. He came to my camp at my previous job, and I think he's out of Arkansas somewhere. But he's a very accurate passer, mature, and he makes a difference. And you put around him, number one, a scheme that is very good, and Chip is one of the better offensive guys that I know. We've known each other for a long time. He came up through the high school ranks also, and offensively is a really, really good coach, and as a head coach also. But you put that quarterback in that system with a running back like 0 and 3, and those dang tight ends, and the big 6'5" receivers. I mean, it's I used to play Troy, played them, and I know the kind of athletes they have, and it's going to be a tall task. I told our kids this morning that I always tell them dead straight that this game, it absolutely is a toss-up, can go either way. They can win it. We could win it. I believe that with all my heart. And then defensively, they looked outstanding this past week, very aggressive, and they got those 6 transfers from NC State and Florida State and Michigan and Kent State and Maryland, and they did well in the portal. They certainly have improved themselves defensively, and we're very aggressive, and we got our hands full.
Let's go back to John.
Coach, looking back to Saturday night's game, you had 2 missed kicks. After watching film, were you able to pinpoint, did Alex just miss them, or were there other issues in that?
No, there's no other issues. I don't. I mean, I'm not good at coaching kickers. I don't. I just know I told him at halftime I had enough. I didn't want to ever see it again. This idea of let's halfway chip shot it, whatever it was. I don't care. I'm all for playing the next play, and if you make a mistake, that's fine. I'm not afraid of mistakes. I'm not afraid, but man, not seizing an opportunity and going after it. So I told him, hit the thing as hard as you can. I don't care. If you miss it, you miss it, but I have had enough of seeing this, whatever that was on those 2, let me guide it in there. I mean, I can't operate that way, and so I hope he listened. He did look like the second half he swung at it, and I want that to be the standard operation moving forward is, man, swing the thing, hit it. Let's see what happens.
Let's go to Jermaine Farrell from FXR in Roanoke.
Good morning, Coach. I hope you're doing well, sir.
Thank you.
Question for you. I noticed during today's presser, you referenced your high school coaching time, and it seems like you take a lot of pride in that. A lot of coaches, they make that transition through head high school coach going up to college. Do you tap into any of those memories or things that help you coach right now at the college level?
Yeah, I think I'm one of the fortunate ones. It doesn't happen often anymore with some of the new rules and stuff, which is unfortunate that are in place with high school coaches being able to get into college. So I feel very fortunate, but I still think of myself as kind of a high school coach at heart. And I think the things that I draw on from those days really are the fact that, man, as high school coaches, even as my day at head coach at small school like Lambeth, you can't complain or worry about what you don't have or who's got this or who's got that, and you all pitch in, and your staff paints the field, cleans the toilets, mops the floor, and you just learn how to make do and overcome. And then as a high school coach, you even we might have to change our offense next year because we just can't do the personnel. You don't get to recruit to it. So I think all of those experiences just play into somewhat giving you the mentality that, look, we'll just overcome, one way or another, whatever we have to do. And I think that I'm a benefit of what those lessons taught me.
Thanks, sir.
Go back to Damien.
Hugh, when you go back and look at the film from Saturday, what were you were you more proud that you didn't allow any sacks, or more disappointed that you weren't able to get any sacks on Williams?
Oh, I'll always take us not giving up sacks. Us protecting our quarterback's vital, and so I'll always take that. Obviously, I'd love to get some sacks, but if you give me the option, I'll take the we didn't give up any every single time.
So when you go back and look about how the offensive linemen were playing a little too tall for your liking, was that primarily just in run protect, creating some running lanes versus how well they're able to do in creating that type of pocket for Malik and JB?
I thought both we were too high. Whether sometimes if you're in man protection, you're going to be high. But man, if you're some type of slide protection, you don't have to be that high, and you can be physical at the point of attack. And so I thought we were a little high in that, and certainly the run game. Man, they were twisted and doing some stuff. But the crazy thing is we've seen that from our defense from day one, and just. I don't know, man. We just played high, and it was disappointing. And I thought our young kids came in and played well. I thought Harry and Adair and Chase Mitchell and Big Ben. I thought all those guys came in and performed well. So it was good to see because we'll need that depth.
Another question for me. You've mentioned Noah Frith. It could be this week or next week when he comes back. How's his hand looking? And do you want to see him at least try to get some reps this week to see if he can go on Saturday? Yeah,
we leave that up to the trainers. I don't decide when he starts getting reps, but my understanding is that they expect him to take reps this week in hopes to play. So hope that goes according to plan.
Last one along those lines for me. Have you heard anything recently on Dejon Anthony and Caleb Coleman?
Caleb, I think, gets released this week to start the process of actually doing stuff on running and stuff. So that's still a ways out. I think Dejon's just like Noah. I think they've given him the okay to see how he feels this week and then make the decision.